So we're starting to get our first information about the Arrowverse seasons for the fall. Our first synopsis has come out for Supergirl season 6, or for season 5, sorry. We found out like episode titles for the Flash and some people who are going to be appearing in it, and things like that. And with Comic Con just a week and a half away, we're going to find out tons more information about the shows at the panels. Probably not trailers because they're not very far into filming, but we will find out some pretty big information. Like Mark Guggenheim has teased that we're going to be hearing about a lot of guest stars that will be appearing on Arrow's final season, like characters who we've seen before, which I might do a video on who we might see because that will be awesome. But yeah, the more we learn, the more we're kind of getting an idea of how much these seasons are going to connect into Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it's going to be a lot. The Flash, for example, their second episode is called A Flash of the Lightning. That is the name of issue 8 of the Crisis on Infinite Earths runs where Barry Allen dies. And that's episode 2 of The Flash, and they're already teasing what happens to Barry. Which kind of gives us an idea that they're going to be spending a lot of even The Flash teasing Crisis. Arrow, we already know, this is Oliver's off with the Monitor. If they're showing Oliver scenes, all they kind of can do is Crisis on Infinite Earths related stuff. And with Supergirl's a weird one. Supergirl really could have gone either direction with this. It could have been possible the Monitor just showed up, just teased us about Crisis, but he could have went off then, and we wouldn't see him again until Crisis, and they could be like, well, it wasn't really a tie-in after all. The thing is, though, is that the Season 5 synopsis actually talks about how the Monitor has now arrived on Earth 38, and I don't think they'd mention that unless it's going to be a big part of the upcoming season. So, I thought it'd be fun to talk about what the Monitor is doing on all of the shows, because the only show he hasn't appeared on yet is Flash. But I thought it'd be fun to kind of talk about what he's doing on Supergirl, what he's doing on Arrow, what he's doing on Legends, etc, etc. So I'll start off with Legends, since it's the one that we probably won't find out what he was... Well, we'll probably find out what he was doing in Crisis itself, but since Legends doesn't return till January, it's not like their show was going to be affected by whatever he was doing, unless Legends are in Crisis. But I think it's pretty clear what he was doing there. I think this was after he recruited Oliver, and Monitor probably recruited Oliver so that they could go around and find champions to help them fight the Crisis. And I think the first people Oliver was like, okay, look, there is this group of people called the Legends. They're not the best, but we could use their help. And then the Monitor goes to check them out, and that's where he was when we saw him. He was there looking, seeing if they were worth taking. That's why he was not shaking his head. He was like, these are not people that I want to be working with. But I'm pretty sure that he'll have picked them anyway once he saw how they brought Nate back to life with a song. But yeah, that's what I think he was doing on Legends, just there to kind of like check out who would be good to recruit and whatnot, and see if Oliver was telling the truth about these guys being worth recruiting, whether or not the Monitor actually considers them worth recruiting or not. I guess we won't find out till Crisis itself, or maybe even with Arrow. On Supergirl, this is a weird one, because the Monitor did two things on Supergirl's final episode. He showed up with a Martian, and he did something to Lex Luthor's body. The Martian is weird. It could be anybody, but I think it's John Jones' brother. I forget his name, but I know that in the comics, John Jones doesn't really get on with his brother. They're kind of enemies at times, and this Martian is definitely here for John Jones, it seems like, and not in a friendly way. So I think it's safe to say that that is John Jones' brother. The Lex Luthor one is a little bit more complicated. That could have been seen in a bunch of different ways. The way I'm seeing it is that the Monitor was bringing Lex Luthor back to life. I don't just think this because it makes the most sense. I think this because it's Lex Luthor. He is up there with the Joker as DC's most iconic villain. Him and the Joker are the two biggest villains in DC of all time. He's a huge character, and we've been getting him teased on Supergirl since season 1. And for them to kill him off after 4 or 5 episodes, after he was a great Lex Luthor, just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think they would have killed him off unless they knew they were bringing him back relatively soon. So it would make sense for the Monitor to be bringing him back. The thing is, though, why is the Monitor doing this? He's bringing an enemy over to fight John Jones, and he's bringing Lex Luthor, who's an enemy of Team Supergirl, back to life. Why would he do this? Well, it's possible that he's doing what he was doing before he met Barry, Oliver, and Kara. He is testing an Earth. So remember at the very start of Crisis, we see Earth 90 get destroyed, and only John Wesley Shipp's Barry Allen survives. That's because the Monitor destroyed the Earth because he was testing the heroes. The heroes failed, and he destroyed their Earth, using the Book of Destiny. It's entirely possible that he's gone back to that, because he doesn't know what Earth 38 is capable. He knows what Earth 1 is capable because he was there, but he doesn't know what Earth 38 is capable besides Supergirl herself. So it's possible that he's bringing villains such as Lex Luthor back to life, and he's going to give Lex Luthor the Earth 38 Book of Destiny. He could be using Jean-Jules Verne to test Martian Manhunter. And if the heroes fail their tests, if Jean-Jules loses to his brother, if Lex Luthor beats Earth 38's heroes with the Book of Destiny, then maybe the Monitor will destroy the Earth, and that could lead to our heroes traveling over to Earth 1 and whatnot. But the thing about this is that this would paint the Monitor in a villainous light, and we know that he wasn't really the good guy even before Crisis, but at this, like even before Elseworlds, I mean. But that said, by the end of Elseworlds onwards, we're supposed to believe that he's the good guy. He is the one that we should be rooting for, especially since he's taking Oliver under his wing and stuff like that. But just going by past knowledge of what we know of the Monitor, I think it's possible he really could be testing Earth 38. He could be giving Lex Luthor the Book of Destiny, and he could be prepared to destroy this Earth if they can't, win the tests and the challenges that he's set up. Maybe he has a plan in place to make sure Supergirl gets out alive. Maybe Oliver doesn't know he's doing this. Maybe Oliver does. I don't know. It's very confusing, but I could be way off the mark at this. That's just what I think. The Flash is a weird one because we haven't seen the Monitor show up in the Flash, and I still am not sure if he will be. I think LaMonica Garrett, the guy who plays him, I think he was in most of the writing rooms for the first episodes. I know he was for Supergirl, he was for Arrow, and he was rumored to be for the Flash, but I'm not certain on that. If he shows up on the Flash, I imagine it's just something ominous, like at the end of the episode saying like, Barry Allen, your fate remains the same as it did before, something like that, leading into a Flash of Lightning where Barry's coming to terms with the fact that he might die. He could show up and be like Reverse Flash. He could be doing something with Reverse Flash. Maybe he's behind the villain of the season this year, like maybe he's behind Godspeed or something, or Red Death, which, not to say they're the villains, we don't know, but we knew Godspeed is in the first episode, so it's possible Godspeed is the villain, and maybe the Monitor is behind that, which would be interesting. Arrow is another one that we kind of straightforwardly know what he's doing. He's off with Oliver, and they're probably going around the multiverse, taking heroes from various timelines, from various Earths and whatnot. Oliver doesn't know an awful lot of heroes, outside of Team Arrow, Team Flash, Team Supergirl, outside of people that are heroes today and the Legends, he doesn't really know an awful lot of people. Like, it would have made more sense for the Monitor to recruit Flash, because Barry knows a bunch of different heroes on different Earths. Like, Barry knows Earth Tree Flash, he knows Jesse Quick, he knows Accelerated Man from Earth 19. It would make more sense, but I guess Oliver made the deal. He kind of needs to use Oliver. But yeah, and then there was the bit about what he was doing with Felicity at the end of the final, which seemed to me that he was taking Felicity to wherever Oliver was, which could be a bunch of places. Maybe he was taking her to Oliver's final moments right before Oliver dies, so he can spend her last moments with Oliver, or his last moments with her. Maybe he was taking her to a different Earth. Maybe Oliver's on a different Earth that he can't return. Maybe they're doing what they did where Superman in the comics, Superman from Earth 2, which is the original Superman, Lois Lane from Earth 2, Lex Luthor from Earth 3, and Superboy Prime end up in a different dimension that's outside everything, and they can't go outside of that small pocket dimension, so they can't revisit other Earths and whatnot. Maybe that's where Oliver is, and Felicity's being taken there, which could set up a possibility of those characters returning at some point down the line if they wanted to. Maybe if they did a little hint, nudge, Infinite Crisis, which I'd be 100% down for. But yeah, that is that's kind of what I think the Monitor's been up to. I could be way off the mark. The only one here that I think was very speculative was the Supergirl bit, and the other ones are kind of self-explanatory. I guess Flash is kind of speculative as well, because we have no idea what they're doing with that. But that's just what I think. What do you think? What do you think Monitor's up to in all this? I hope you liked this video. I hope it was informative. If you have ideas for Arrowverse or MCU videos, or just DC and Marvel videos that you would like me to do, I'd love to hear them, and I'd love to do them. Thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, all that, and I hope you have an awesome day.